Do you remember the boisterous laughter echoing through the streets, the dirt-stained faces, and the carefree mischief of childhood? Those boys were once intertwined with the memories of an entire generation in America, but behind that innocent facade lay a story full of mysteries. And surprisingly, none of them are still alive today. Have you ever wondered what really happened? Subscribe to stay updated on more shocking stories, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe this is a curse or just a historical coincidence? Let's explore the mysteries that continue to haunt many to this day. Billy Buckwheat, Thomas, the shy boy with the distinctive voice and unforgettable childhood memories of America. Do you remember the boy with the unique hair and innocent yet charming voice in The Little Rascals? That was Billy Buckwheat, Thomas, born on March 12, 1931, in Los Angeles, California. At just 4 years old, he played Buckwheat, a quiet, shy boy who left a deep impression on audiences, becoming one of the most talked-about characters in the series. However, behind the laughter on screen lay a life that was not so easy. As an adult, Thomas married and had a child, but the marriage later ended in divorce, as he struggled to find a normal life outside the shadow of Buckwheat. Afterward, he stepped away from the spotlight, choosing a more private life and working behind the scenes at Technicolor, remaining connected to the industry that had brought him public recognition. However, childhood memories seem to have a lasting impact. There are accounts suggesting that during filming, Billy Thomas was sometimes given mild sedatives to help him cooperate during long scenes, although this information has never been officially confirmed. According to relatives, as an adult, he sometimes faced prolonged stress and anxiety. The final tragedy came relatively soon. On October 10, 1980, Billy Thomas died suddenly at his Los Angeles home from a heart attack at the age of 49. Just about 10 weeks earlier, he had appeared at a Hollywood reunion with the cast of Our Gang, where he was greeted with enthusiastic applause and was visibly moved. He was buried at Englewood Park Cemetery, leaving behind an estate of approximately $150,000. But what remains most deeply ingrained in the memory of Buckwheat, the innocent, lovable boy who is inextricably linked to the childhood memories of many generations of viewers. Do you remember the boy in the wide-brimmed fedora hat, always quick-witted and somewhat more mature than his age in The Little Rascals? That was Matthew Stymie Beard, born on January 1, 1925, near Los Angeles, California. At just 5 years old, he became Stymie, the smartest, calmest, and most observant character in the group, leaving audiences with a feeling that was both endearing and unforgettable. However, behind that early spotlight lay considerable pressure. His film earnings at a young age had to support a large family, making Beard's life much more burdensome than that of his peers. As he grew older, acting opportunities narrowed, and the name Stymie no longer held the same standing in Hollywood as before. He married Annie hoping to build a more stable life, but reality proved difficult. Financial pressure, a fading career, and unfulfilled expectations gradually pushed him into a prolonged period of hardship, including personal problems and a declining lifestyle. However, Stymie's journey wasn't all darkness. Beard later sought out Cheney, a controversial rehabilitation program in Los Angeles, and gradually tried to regain balance in his life. He returned to television with small roles in shows like Sanford and Son, Good Times, and appeared in the Buddy Holly story in 1978, a sign that he hadn't completely left the arts. But fate still wouldn't give him an easy path. On January 3, 1981, just 2 days after his 56th birthday, Beard suffered a stroke, fell downstairs, and sustained serious injuries. He passed away on January 8, 1981, due to complications from pneumonia. He was buried at Evergreen Cemetery, where his derby hat, Stymie's iconic symbol, is placed beside him as a reminder of a childhood that has become etched in the memories of generations. Despite a life full of ups and downs, Matthew Stymie Beard left a memorable legacy, with the image of the intelligent, sharp-witted boy and the smile that shaped the childhood of American cinema. Do you remember the blonde girl with the gentle smile, and clear voice who melted the hearts of audiences in The Little Rascals? That was Darla Hood, born on November 8, 1931, in Lehigh, Oklahoma. At just 4 years old, she played Darla, the iconic image of innocence, charm, and the first love in the children's world of the series. Her chemistry with Alfalfa created moments that were both adorable and classic, leaving a lasting impression on generations of viewers. But behind that sweet image lay a life that was far from easy. As an adult, Darla married Robert W. Decker in 1949, but their relationship ended in 1957. She later married Jose Granson and had 3 children. However, her family life was far from peaceful, especially after her husband suffered a serious health problem following a stroke, placing a heavy burden on Darla's shoulders. Alongside her personal life, she also faced the constant pressure of maintaining her image as the perfect girl in the public eye. Expectations of her appearance, youthfulness, and radiant look caused Darla considerable stress. Some relatives shared that she was always worried about her weight and image, leading to persistent problems related to eating and the use of weight loss medication, which significantly impacted her health over time. The tragedy came unexpectedly and ironically. During preparations for a Little Rascals cast reunion in 1979, Darla underwent an appendectomy at Canoga Park Hospital. However, she passed away on June 13, 1979, at the age of 47. The cause of death was determined to be heart failure due to complications from hepatitis related to a transfusion of contaminated blood, turning a routine medical procedure into a heartbreaking loss. Her funeral was attended by family, friends, and former colleagues from our gang, leaving behind a deep sense of loss. While her estate is estimated at around $500,000, Darla Hood's greatest legacy lies not in that amount, but in the image of the gentle, innocent, and vibrant little girl, a childhood memory that lives on in the hearts of generations of viewers. Carl Alfalfa Switzer, the child star with the distinctive laughter and a tragic end. Do you remember the curly-haired boy with the high-pitched voice who made audiences across America laugh in the Little Rascals series? That was Carl Alfalfa Switzer, born on August 7, 1927, in Paris, Illinois. At just 8 years old, Carl took on the role of Alfalfa, the romantic, stubborn, but lovable singer, and quickly became one of the most prominent faces of the series, even more so than Spanky in the late 1930s. However, the early fame also brought many consequences. As an adult, Carl entered a life of upheaval and hardship. In 1954, he married Diana Collingwood, the daughter of a wealthy family, after only a few months of acquaintance in Las Vegas. Initially, this marriage was seen as an opportunity for him to settle down after a turbulent childhood. They had a son together, Justin Lance Collingwood Switzer, and for a short time, things seemed to be going in a positive direction. However, that happiness didn't last. By 1957, the marriage had broken down, leaving Carl not only emotionally wounded, but also facing serious financial difficulties. Once a beloved child star, he now had to make a living through various jobs, such as training dogs and assisting on hunting trips for celebrities like Roy Rogers and James Stewart. Alongside this came a series of troubles, from an altercation at a bar where he was shot in the hand, to being placed on probation after an incident involving logging in Sequoia National Forest. The final tragedy occurred after a minor dispute over a debt with an old acquaintance, Moses "Bud" Stilts. On January 21, 1959, during an argument that escalated into a fight, Carl was shot and died at the hospital at 7:27 p.m. at the age of 31. Although authorities concluded it was an act of self-defense, many witnesses still questioned the incident. Carl Alfalfa Switzer is buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. His tombstone bears the symbol of the Freemasons along with an image of a hunting dog, a reminder of his childhood love and the memories he brought to audiences. Though his life ended tragically, the image of the curly-haired boy with the distinctive voice and innocent smile lives on in the memories of many generations. George "Spanky" McFarland, the innocent leader of American childhood and the quiet moments behind the glamour. Do you remember the bright, mischievous, yet confident boy in The Little Rascals? The one who always held the role of leader of the group with his radiant smile and intelligent eyes? That was George Spanky McFarland, born on October 2nd, 1928, in Dallas, Texas. At just 3 years old, Spanky became the soul of the series, helping to shape the spirit of the group of children and capturing the hearts of audiences in the 1930s. However, fame at such a young age also brought with it lasting consequences. As he entered adulthood, McFarland carried the shadow of Spanky, the character that had been associated with his name throughout his childhood. In 1949, he married Paula Jean Wilkinson, hoping to build a stable life away from Hollywood. However, the image of Spanky never left him, a mark that the public always saw before his true self. After his first marriage ended, he remarried Doris and had 3 children. Even so, the pressure of being tied to his old image silently persisted, affecting his spirit and life for many years. At reunions with former actors or nostalgic events, McFarland often smiled and recounted childhood stories, but few realized that behind that cheerful facade lay a sense of unease, loneliness, and a longing to be seen as a grown man, not just as his old role. George McFarland died on June 30th, 1993, at his home in Grapevine, Texas, after a heart attack at the age of 64. Although he was cremated and there are plans for a memorial service at Texas State Cemetery, his legacy lives on through the image of Spanky, the leader of the Little Rascals, an icon of innocence and mischief that captivated millions of viewers. The spiritual value he left behind transcends material things, becoming a beautiful part of the memories of many generations. Do you remember the chubby, slow-witted boy who always made audiences laugh in The Little Rascals? That was Norman "Chubby" Cheney, born on October 18th, 1914, in Cambridge, Maryland. As a teenager, he played Chubby, a character both grumpy and charming in his own unique way, contributing to the unforgettable legacy of the series. His distinctive presence, from his expressions to his demeanor, has left a lasting impression on viewers for generations. However, behind those laughs lay a reality of immense pressure. The role brought him attention, but also inadvertently trapped him in an image he could barely escape. As an adult, Cheney had few opportunities to build a normal life like everyone else. No marriage, no stable family, and he was always defined primarily by his appearance rather than his true self. His health also gradually became a serious problem. Despite attempts to maintain a normal lifestyle, Cheney's weight increased significantly, at one point exceeding 300 pounds, approximately 136 kilograms, while his height was only about 4 feet 7 inches, 140 centimeters. Doctors later determined he had a thyroid problem, but by the time it was discovered, the condition had become very difficult to control. Some accounts from behind the scenes suggest that the chubby boy image was exploited excessively, despite the negative impact on his health. By 1935, after treatment at Johns Hopkins, his weight had dropped to about 140 pounds, 63 kilograms. However, this rapid change added further pressure to his already weakened body. Not long after, Chubby Cheney died on May 29, 1936, from myocarditis at the age of 21. He was buried in Baltimore Cemetery, but for decades his grave remained unmarked. Due to difficult family circumstances, a memorial plaque was only erected in 2012 thanks to a crowdfunding campaign. Although the material value of his legacy is almost negligible, under $5,000, Norman "Chubby" Cheney's legacy lies not in that amount, but in the memory of a boy who brought laughter to millions of viewers and the poignant life story behind the glamour of his childhood. Do you remember the intelligent, emotional, and always genuine boy in The Little Rascals? That was Jackie Cooper, born on September 15th, 1922, in Los Angeles, California. At just 7 years old, he played Jackie, a bright, natural, and vibrant boy, quickly becoming one of the most beloved child actors in the series, leaving a strong impression on audiences. However, behind that on-screen smile lay a difficult childhood. His father left the family when Jackie was very young, and from then on, he was drawn into the harsh world of Hollywood, where children were sometimes no longer seen as children. One of his most haunting memories was when director Norman Torog, in the film Skippy, made him cry by lying that his dog had been shot. The scene was successful, but the experience left a lasting psychological scar for many years afterward. Cooper's personal life as an adult was also marked by significant upheaval. He first married June Horn in 1944 and had a son, but the marriage ended in 1949. He then married Hildy Parks, but this relationship lasted only about a year. His third marriage to Barbara Ray Krause in 1954 brought him relative stability and 3 more children. Even so, the lingering effects of his childhood in the entertainment industry remained, influencing him in subtle yet profound ways. Jackie Cooper passed away on May 3, 2011, in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 88. He left an estimated net worth of $18 million, a considerable sum compared to many of his contemporaries. However, the greatest legacy he left behind is not in money, but in the journey of a boy who once made audiences laugh and feel moved, and then dedicated his life to proving that he was much more than Hollywood ever defined him. Do you remember the boy with the distinctive husky voice and the quirky yet charming acting style in The Little Rascals? That was Billy Froggy Laughlin, born on July 5, 1932, in San Gabriel, California. At just 8 years old, Billy played Froggy, a humorous, unique, and charismatic character who brought a fresh perspective to the series in its later stages. His distinctive voice and natural expressive style made his image unforgettable for audiences. Unlike many child stars of his time, Billy didn't stay in Hollywood for long. After the series ended, he only appeared in a few minor roles, such as in Johnny Doesn't Live Here Anymore, before gradually leaving the film industry to choose a more peaceful life, closer to his family and everyday life. Rumors circulated that Froggy's hoarse voice was enhanced during filming to enhance the comedic effect, although the accuracy of this remains unclear. Nevertheless, it partly illustrates the pressure that child actors might face in such a young working environment. The tragedy occurred too soon, before life had a chance to unfold in many ways. On August 31, 1948, Billy Laughlin died in a traffic accident in California at the age of 16. He was a passenger on a newspaper delivery motorcycle when it collided with a speeding truck. Billy was taken to the hospital but succumbed after about 6 hours. He was buried at Rose Hills Memorial Park Cemetery in Whittier, California, alongside his family, leaving little inheritance. Despite his short life, Froggy's image lives on in the memories of audiences, a boy with a distinctive husky voice, an innocent smile, and an unmistakable style. It's a small but significant mark on the history of childhood cinema, both joyful and tinged with nostalgia. Do you remember the little boy who always followed the Little Rascals, eager to join in all their mischief? That was Bobby Weezer Hutchkins, born March 29, 1925, in Tacoma, Washington. At just 2 years old, Bobby played Weezer, an energetic, innocent boy who brought vibrancy to the series during the transition from silent to sound films. However, behind that adorable exterior lay a turbulent childhood. Many accounts suggest that Weezer's father heavily interfered in his life on set, even trying to keep him small and in the right image for the role. The prolonged pressure of such an early working environment is believed to have strongly affected Bobby's psychology, causing him to become more withdrawn over time. Some rumors also suggest that he experienced harsh disciplinary measures on set, which may have contributed to his lasting fear and anxiety later in life. As he grew older, Bobby gradually distanced himself from the spotlight and did not pursue an acting career. Wanting to escape the shadow of his past, he chose a military path and joined the United States Army Air Force, training to become a pilot in hopes of starting a completely different life. However, fate once again took a tragic turn. On May 17, 1945, during a landing training exercise at Merced Army Airfield, California, Hutchkins' plane crashed after colliding with another aircraft. He died at the age of 20, just days before his scheduled graduation from pilot training. Bobby didn't leave much of a financial mark from his short career, but the image of Weezer, the bright, energetic boy always chasing laughter in The Little Rascals, lives on in the audience's memory. It's a piece of cinematic childhood that was both brilliant and tinged with regret, where joy and tragedy always went hand in hand. Do you remember the curly-haired, quick-witted girl who always brought mischievous moments to the Little Rascals? That was Dorothy Dorba, born on March 28, 1925, in Liverpool, California. At just around 5 years old, she took on the role of Dorothy, a vibrant, intelligent, and charming character that added a fresh color to the series and left an unforgettable impression on viewers. However, her early fame didn't translate into an easy life later on. As an adult, Dorothy went through 2 marriages and became the mother of 2 children. Although she left acting to work in an office as a secretary, memories of her early fame remained with her, a beautiful yet difficult memory to let go of. Over time, Dorothy's health began to decline. There are anecdotal accounts suggesting that working in the early film studio environment with its underdeveloped sound and technology may have had some long-term impact on her health, although this has not been definitively confirmed. Later, she was diagnosed with emphysema, a slow but persistent disease that gradually diminished her health and the agility she had once possessed in her youth. Dorothy Dorba passed away on June 2, 2010, in Walnut Creek, California, at the age of 85. While she left little of a physical legacy, her legacy lies in the old films, where the curly-haired girl with the radiant smile and natural acting contributed to the vitality of the Little Rascals, leaving in the audience's memory an image that is both innocent and nostalgic. Do you remember the nimble little boy with the tilted hat who was always by Spanky's side in The Little Rascals? That was Scotty Beckett, born on October 4, 1929, in Oakland, California. At just 5 years old, Scotty impressed audiences with his natural wit, quick thinking, and excellent chemistry with his co-stars, contributing to the series' vitality during its golden age. However, early fame didn't guarantee a smooth path. As an adult, Scotty went through 3 marriages: Beverly Baker, Sonny Vickers, with whom he had a son named Scott Jr., and Margaret C. Sabo, but all 3 ended prematurely. His later acting career, while still featuring notable roles in films like Battleground, Rocky Jones, and Space Ranger, was gradually overshadowed by personal issues. He succumbed to alcohol, gambling, drug use, and financial legal troubles, causing his once beloved image to crumble. His life was also marked by a series of serious setbacks. In 1959, Scotty was involved in a car accident that resulted in severe hip and skull injuries, making mobility difficult for an extended period. In 1962, he suffered a severe mental breakdown following a period of alcohol abuse. His health and life continued to decline in the years that followed. In May 1968, after an unexplained violent incident, Beckett was admitted to a Los Angeles care facility with multiple injuries. Just 2 days later, he died at the age of 38. His body was found with medication and what appeared to be a suicide note, but the exact cause of death remains unclear. Scotty Beckett was buried at San Fernando Mission Cemetery in Los Angeles, bringing to a close a life filled with controversy and tragedy. Despite the somber ending, the image of the loyal, clever, and energetic boy on screen lives on in the audience's memory as an inseparable part of the Little Rascals. The mischievous and vibrant children we once watched on screen have now stepped out of the spotlight, leaving behind not only laughter and iconic moments, but also real-life stories filled with ups and downs. From the bustling world of the Little Rascals to the challenging journey of adulthood, each face carries its own unique path, where fame, childhood, and reality sometimes collide in unexpected ways. And now, we want to hear your opinion. Which of these characters left the deepest impression? Or do you have any memories associated with these childhood movies? Share your feelings in the comments below to reminisce about those special memories together. If you enjoy these legendary, lesser-known yet profound stories, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. We will continue to take you on a journey behind the scenes of Hollywood child stars, people who once made the world smile, and who also carry behind-the-scenes stories that not everyone knows. Let's preserve those memories together and continue our exploration of these cinematic legends who have walked through history in their own unique ways.